Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today we're going to rage through the Barbarian with our Intro to Dungeons & Dragons series. Once again, I want to give a massive thank you to Easy Roller Dice for sponsoring this series. If you jump down in the description below, you can find a link to check out their dice as well as a coupon code to save 20% off your order from them. Today we're going to be talking about the Barbarian class. It's in page 46 of your player's handbook. The classic version of Barbarian is definitely going to be Conan, whether it's going to be from literature or from video games or any of the other properties, and of course the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And this class is, by and large, there's a lot of thought about Conan for it and its design. So your barbarian could be a tribal sort of character, or you could do some sort of Berserker Viking character, or even maybe just someone that's psychotic and loves to fight, and they just go into a psychotic state when they get into a fight. They just go berserk. So it's a good idea to play a Barbarian if you want to play one of the toughest classes there is to play. They get the highest hit die with the D12, and they also, you can just walk around bare-chested, let people hit you, swing axes at your chest, and you get your Constitution bonus as a modifier to your armor class. So it's kind of to fight someone and not be encased in a suit of armor. Like, there's something badass where you're just like willing to let people take shots at you and you're wearing like next to nothing but a loincloth. So that's impressive. You also should play a Barbarian if you don't want people to like you when you're angry. So at third level, when you're playing Barbarian, you get to make the choice of whether you want to go Path of the Berserker or Path of the Totem Warrior. So the Berserker is just like kind of doing the mindless killing machine thing. The Totem Warrior is kind of doing that, but in a slightly different way, where they have these sort of spirit companion bonds, and you get some abilities derived from that. The Berserker path, they get to take this ability called Frenzy, which as a bonus action you can take an extra attack. The only thing is there's so many options between feats or fighting with two weapons that you'll get to be able to do that anyway. Now, an extra attack with a greatsword or a maul, that can be significant, but the downside of using the Frenzy ability is you end the fight with a level of exhaustion. When you're at your 6th level of exhaustion in Dungeons & Dragons, you're dead. So using this ability really frequently will literally kill you on the one side. On the other, there's just too many ways to be able to get another attack from, say, the Great Weapon Master feat, that it doesn't make a lot of sense to use the Frenzy ability often. Now, the 6th level ability does sort of make up for this. Mindless Rage is impressive in that when you're raging, if you're under the effects of a charm or something like that, as soon as you rage, you snap out of it and can act of your own accord. So even if you're charmed by the evil spellcaster, but maybe they tell you to fight on their behalf, well, what is a barbarian going to do but rage? So you can kind of then snap out of the charm state and act however you would have normally wanted to. So kudos for that. Now, 10th level, this sort of swings back and forth here, but the 10th level, getting the Intimidating Presence, it takes an action to do this, and you can make somebody make a save or be frightened of you. But it's using your charisma. As a warrior, you're probably not going to put your highest score in charisma, so that's one thing counting against it. The other is, this takes your action to do. Most times when you're a fighting character class, doing the act of fighting is going to be the most impressive and effective thing your character could possibly do. So again, 10th level ability is kind of meh. Now the 14th level ability. The 14th level ability is freaking cool. 14th level ability says, when somebody hits you, you get a thing called retaliation. So if somebody strikes you, you immediately get to swing it back at them back. It does use your reaction, so you can only do this thing once per round. But it's a way to get an extra attack throughout combat. And if you're a barbarian, you're up in the front ranks, you're going to take some hits. Now, the Path of the Totem Warrior it just by and large seems like a better choice to make. At third level, you choose a spirit animal, and you can either do a thing where you just wear like pelts of that animal from a roleplay standpoint, or even the player's handbook suggests you can take on minor cosmetic features of that creature. And while the bear the eagle, and the wolf are the prototypical like three things that you would get to choose from. The player's handbook explicitly says that if you wanted to reskin something, reflavor it, it's more than fine to do. Like, say, instead of the tribe of the bear, like you wanted to be the tribe of the boar, and so you can just say that maybe you sprout little tusks, or maybe your skin like just becomes firmer, and you get little coarse hairs that come down if you wanted to do that. So perfectly fine thing to do. Now the bear is out now. I think one of the better choices to be made, really. When you choose the totem of the bear, you get resistance to all damage except for psychic. And as a character class that's, again, going to be out in front, taking a lot of hits, resisting the majority of damage you take is just a solid way to go. You can also take the way of the eagle, which gives you the ability to take a dash action as a bonus action, and also imposes disadvantage from attacks of opportunity, or the way of the wolf, which, if you have a bunch of other melee fighters in your party, when you're adjacent to an enemy, all of your allies have advantage to attack that enemy. So say if there's 2 or 3 other sort of fighty, stabby characters in your party with you, the way of the wolf would be a very effective choice to make as well. So when you get up to 6th level, you get Aspect of the Beast, which, again, you get to choose between any one of the animals. Really, you're not married to taking. If you took the bear on your first choice on 3rd level, at 6th level you can still take the wolf or the eagle if you so choose. So the bear gets an increased carrying capacity. So the eagle gets keen eyesight, so you can see for a mile around. So that's a pretty neat, flavorful ability, especially if you're doing like a very scouty sort of character, trying to look ahead and know what's going on. And lastly, with the wolf, it lets you track at a fast movement. So like when you're doing group movements and trying to pursue enemies, you're very good at doing that. And also, you can move at a normal pace and still be stealthy. So if you wanted to play more of an ambush character, maybe if you wanted to do, say, a barbarian rogue, that might be a good option to add those two concepts together to one another. At 10th level, you get more of like a role play sort of ability. It's called Spirit Walker, and that lets you be able to play to cast the Commune with Nature spell. So what that lets you do is, within a certain radius, know what the terrain is like, know what kind of humanoids about, if there's like enemies or hostiles, that'll kind of let you know what's going on. But you do have to be in a natural environment, and I think the radius of it is even shorter if you're underground. At 14th level, you come into getting a totemic attunement. So when you're raging, when you're the path of the bear, that just means that anyone around you who's not attacking you, they have disadvantage to making attacks on anybody else. Though I think if they're immune to being frightened, then your ability doesn't work on them. But otherwise, it's a really good ability if you want to draw the animosity of whomever you're fighting. Now the eagle actually grants a fly speed, so whatever your movement is, you can fly there to do it. Now, the downside is, if you haven't hit land by the end of you having movement, you're just going to fall. So you either have to be okay with that, or get back to solid footing before you let this ability deactivate. And lastly, the wolf, as a bonus action, you can choose to knock a target prone as long as they're large size or smaller, which, if you knock that enemy prone, everyone else who's attacking them is going to get advantage if they're making melee attacks. So that's a pretty helpful sort of pack tactics way to go. So those are your two choices with paths with barbarians, the way you could possibly go. But you also get some really cool abilities like Reckless Attack, where you can choose to get advantage on your attacks, but also anything else attacking you is going to get advantage. So this is like a sort of high risk choice, because you may be able to out damage things you're fighting, but then again, say if it's a giant or something else that's going to smack you down really hard, it might not be a good trade-off to activate it in such a fight like that. You're also going to get a cool ability like Danger Sense, which just gives you advantage to make saving throws against traps. So again, that seems like a nod to Conan, where he had this preternatural sense to get the heck out of the way when there's something dangerous about. You also get fast movement, so you get an extra 10 feet per round. But so you get all these sort of cool little extra physical abilities and capabilities that you can do as a barbarian. So outside of all of your crazy abilities that just let you hit and hurt things harder, by the time you get to 20th level, you can increase both your strength and your constitution score by 4, and up to having a 24. So every other character class caps out at a 20 minus maybe certain magical items you may get. You can have a 24 strength and constitution, which is freaking absurd. And so that's an excellent 20th level capacity if you go straight 20 levels in Barbarian. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little discussion of the Barbarian, and if you didn't, well, to hell with you! By Crom, thanks to Easy Roller Dice for sponsoring this video series. If you have any questions as a new player, please feel free to put them in the comments. The Nerdarchy community is fantastic about helping new players along. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay nerdy.